Well, hi there, everybody. I'm Jack Church, and you've tuned in to my podcast, The Jack Church Show. Or maybe you're watching via our YouTube channel, Traveling with Jack and Pam. Either way, I'm sure happy you decided to join us today. In the meantime, you can probably hear maybe a little noise in the background. I'm actually high atop a hill overlooking the beautiful Rogue Valley, which is where the city of Medford, Oregon is located. And today it's a little smoky. Smoke has returned to our valley after a couple of really clear days from the fires burning in Northern California. And while you might think this would be a really peaceful location, high above a hill near me is a big rock quarry. So that's what you'll be hearing from time to time, are the trucks going up and down that hill. And I realize they've got a job to do, but it's also a little disrupting in what would otherwise be an incredibly beautiful, peaceful place to be today. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. This is another in part of my series where we talk a little bit about our grief journey. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Maybe you lost a husband, a wife, a child, someone very special to you, and you're working through that grief. For some, it can take months. For some, it can take years. For some, it never completely provides 100% healing, nor should it, especially if you were in a long-term relationship. And today's message kind of centers a little bit more around those of us who maybe had a husband, a wife, or someone we were very, very close to and loved dearly. In my case, it was my lovely bride, Pam. In your case, I don't know the name of that person, but it was somebody that you loved and you cherish. Maybe it was a short relationship that ended far too quickly. Maybe it was a long relationship. Maybe you were married 50 years. In my case, we were married over 30 years, knew each other since high school. But either way, you invested a lot of time and energy. You poured out your heart and soul to this person. And hopefully, if it was a good, healthy relationship, they did the same with you. And what I want to talk about, I've actually done another show about the loss of intimacy. And you guys know what I'm talking about. It's one of those things that when the relationship ends, that it's just taken away. It's just poof, it's gone. Something that you shared and enjoyed with your partner is just taken away. And people don't like to talk about that much. But let's face it, if you're truly in love and connected, it's usually both an emotional as well as a physical attachment. And when this person dies, or maybe it's a divorce, I don't know what caused you to lose your significant other. I have to use the correct terms here because I know there's different types of relationships out there. But when you lose that person, you've lost the emotional and physical aspects of the relationship. And I talk about this because I had a rather nice encounter today. It was with a beautiful woman who I've seen just out and about different times over the past few months. Really sweet, sweet gal. And enjoy talking with her. We don't see each other on a regular basis. It's pretty sporadic, but today I did run into her. And she approached me. I was in a coffee shop, and she says, "How about a hug?" And I said, "Oh, you bet." And I hugged her. And it felt good. It just felt good to hold another person. And we hugged again at the end of our conversation. I told her, I said, "It just feels so good to hold a woman again. It just really, really does feel good." And I think it probably felt good for her as well. She'd lost her husband a few years ago. The point being, for those of us who have lost someone, that loss of some physical connection in some respects can be the hardest part of our loss. And I think you know what I'm talking about. In fact, I had a woman who she was about to approach a gentleman who had lost his wife a couple of years ago, and she says, I just don't know what to say to him. I don't know how to approach him. And it was funny. After today's encounter, it dawned on me. You know what? You really don't have to say a lot. Just offer him a hug. Because I guarantee you he misses that. He misses that physical connection. And you'll make his day. You'll make his week. You may make his month. Because it is one of those things that a lot of people take for granted. My beautiful bride, Pam, and I, we held each other at some point throughout the day. And we had a lot of fun. And you, again, know what I'm talking about there. We won't get into all the details. We'll keep this G-rated. But those things were taken away. So it's amazing what just a simple hug can do. And of course, it's been made harder in 2020 by all the business with COVID-19 and people being afraid to touch or even be within 6 feet of one another. They call it, we know what they call it social distancing. You know what? If you're in a relationship or you have a family, you can handle that because at least at home, you can be close. You can hold others. But let's say you're like me or like you that may be watching or listening, and we don't have that special someone at home anymore. We don't have children that still live at home. We don't have dear friends that are maybe close by. They're spread out around the country like everyone else. So we're all alone. We're left to hug a pillow at night, and that's about as good as it gets. So when a person approaches me and ask me if I want a hug, you better believe I want that hug. And you know what? I do the same. I have become a hugger, even in the middle of COVID-19. Now, mind you, I'll ask people, could you use a hug? You know, it may be someone who's going through some trial or something that's happening in their life. And I'll just say, you look like you could use a hug. Would you like a hug? And they go, yeah, I really could. Little do they know, they are giving me something beautiful as well. So that's it. I said this would be a fairly short message. Let's think about that. If you know somebody who's lost their soulmate, and you know they're down, don't give them the usual stuff of, oh, I'm so sorry about your loss, or, oh, I could only imagine how you feel. We've already gone into that. You can't until it happens to you. Just say, could you use a hug today? I'm going to almost bet you 99.9% of the time they're going to say, you bet I could use a hug. And then, as I said before, you're going to walk away feeling good and you're going to make them feel great. Maybe it's something, though, that we unfortunately are losing through the pandemic, and that makes me sad. So don't do it. Don't give in to it, okay? Yes, I know, be safe, all that good stuff. This is geared more towards those of us who've experienced loss, okay? So you know what? I love the hug I got today. And boy, she felt good. And hopefully I felt good to her. And I'm going to bet you can do the same, okay? So let's go out there, and as I always say, no, I'm not going to say it yet. I want to also remind you, if you enjoy my podcast or you enjoy our YouTube channel, would you please share it with others and to ask them to please subscribe or listen? The podcast is available on all the major platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify. Just look for The Jack Church Show. If you're watching via our YouTube channel, it's Traveling with Jack and Pam. There's not another one out there. And we also have other topics besides grief that we touch on as well. And now I'll get to what I wanted to say, and that is, I do indeed hope you have a great day. And best of all, let's make it a better tomorrow. You guys have a good one. Bye now.